Thank you for showing up to the weekly uh, Friday compassion practices that we started in March. Ashley Dinges, who is one of the co-founders of Weekly Dharma Gathering, had, as the coronavirus became more serious in the US and North America, felt that we should begin to really, and be more serious globally, in Italy and Spain, after, of course, being serious in China and Japan and other places, that we should offer, in addition to our Wednesday night teachers who, we had scheduled way out, free offering. So on Mondays is, it was Learn to Meditate, but now it's just going to be an open sit. So for those of you who want to sit with, folks, and if you're not doing other things at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday, there'll be an open sit with other folks on Mondays. And then on Fridays, I said, yeah, this is a great idea, actually. I'll offer, at first it was Tonglen, but I wanted to expand it to, I have expanded it to other compassion practices. So we've done wrathful compassion, we've done Tonglen, we've done body-based, we've done visualization. And so, this week has been I've been in quarantine for the last 2 weeks because I came back to New York. So today is my last day of quarantine. And it's also Ramadan. I've been talking to a number of friends who are, in the middle of that long discipline. And of course, we're in the middle of a global pandemic, and many places, many places around the world are beginning to open back up, whatever that means, with varying success, varying cautions. And I know that for many people, there's kind of a fatigue settling in, but I wanted to try to offer some practices tonight that have to do with building our capacity and cultivating our compassion for ourselves and also for others, but also has to do with, I don't want to use the word resilience, but it's in that family, building our capacity to be in this for the long haul. And this is what is emerging. We're in the middle. We're not on the other side yet. And so what the world will look like is still being determined, because there are many people, I think, who are still in denial. And maybe especially in the United States, but not only. Not only. I know that's global. I know that many places, and there are many places now that weren't impacted, that are beginning to be impacted, and many places that had flattened their curve when they loosened up, they're seeing a resurgence. So there's still a lot to learn, and meditation practices, and in particular compassion practices, help us to work with the ebb and flow of uncertainty, and the kind of, that's life, like, for instance, our sun is in I was reading about today, a solar minimum period, where it hasn't had any solar flares or sunspots for the last 100 days or something. And so the sun goes through that every 11 or 14 of our years. But this is the longest period since the 17th century. So there's starting to be some worry about. So I was like, okay, the universe is definitely talking to us. So how do we work with nature arising in a way that impacts us very seriously, and in the dissolve of systems that, even if they have been oppressive, unfair, and dangerous, they have oriented us to our lives, ourselves, and each other. So I thought I'd start off with just a little tiny physical. You can stay seated. It's meant to be done standing up, but you can do it seated or even laying down. It's called 3 palms together. And I wanted to do this just to remind us to meditation is a bodily practice as well, and that it's helpful to do a little bit of movement before we sit, whatever feels comfortable for you. So I did a little qigong and yoga, and I felt so much better. My chest has been a little congested and constricted, and been drinking my teas and my tonics, but I said, oh, let me do some lung strengthening and stretching exercises, and then I felt a lot better. Plus I have allergies, and it's a very bad allergy day today. So 3 palms together is very simple. You start with your hands at your waist. Let me see if I can back up a little bit. And then slowly I'll demonstrate it first. You'll raise your hands. Oh, you can't see me. And as your hands come to your shoulder height, you begin to, Monique, I think you might have done this with me. You begin to, both hands, you begin to open your fingers, starting with the thumb, and then bring them above your head. Middle finger touching first, then the 2 fingers, the ring and the pointer, then the pinky, then the thumb. Bringing the palm together, but leaving a little space, and then feeling the space over your chakras. Boom. Third eye. Throat, heart. Then you turn your hands upside down when you come to the belly, secret chakra, which is your genital area. Relax the hands. So we'll do that 3 times. So again, you can stand up, or I'm going to do it seated. And it's really your own pace. So you inhale, begin to bring the arms up to the shoulder. And then as they reach shoulder height, turn the thumbs up and the fingers up, all the fingers. Yes, perfect. The middle finger touches first, then the ring and pointer, then pinky, then thumb, then your heels of your hands, and then just bringing the energy down, top of your crown, the third eye, throat chakra, the heart, turning your palm upside down to your belly, and then to your secret chakra, your genital area, relaxing the palms. Just feeling that energy. We're going to do it 2 more times. And again, raising your arms. When they reach shoulder height, turning the fingers, starting with the thumb, pointing them, gathering the energy of the universe, internal and external, middle finger touch, other 2, pinky, thumb, palms, pausing, and then bringing the energy down to the top of your head, to your crown, anointing it, cleansing it, to your third eye, clarifying your vision and insight, to your throat, working with speech, nervousness, anxiety. Bring it to your heart, clarity of vision, strength. The belly, your relationality, generation. The genital, secret chakra, creativity, children, productivity, pleasure. Relaxing the hands and just feeling that through your central channel in your body, arms. And then one more time at your own pace. 3 palms together, raising the arms. When you reach shoulder height, begin to turn the thumbs, fingers up, gathering all of that energy, chi, nano, electrons, whatever you want to call it, bringing it above your head to your crown. Again, you can just go at your own pace. To your forehead, your third eye, to the throat, to the heart, turning the palms upside down to the belly area, and then to your secret chakra, relaxing the hands. Just feeling into your body, feeling your body being supported by the earth, who is our mother and our witness and our home and our source. Allowing your lower body to sink in, really rooting through your sits bones, or if you're standing, through your feet, or if you're laying down, through the back of your body that's touching, allowing it yourself to sink into her gentle strength. Feeling the confidence that comes from having a support and letting the front of your body relax and the back of your body be upright but not uptight. And feeling the balance between a soft, relaxed front and a strong, dignified back. Relaxing the throat and any places that are tense in your body, shoulders, lower back, the face, the forehead, the hips, letting that melt. And at the same time, feeling the stretch of the spine, its natural curve, which starts from ground into the earth and reaches through your body, the lower back, passing the lungs and the kidneys and the ribs, through your middle back, upper back, through your neck, your skull, and coming out the top of your skull to reach to the sky, letting your body hang over that flexible golden bamboo rod that's brightening your whole entire body. Allowing there to be a sense of dignity and relaxation, gentleness and fearlessness. Your eyes can be open or closed, but either way, they should be relaxed. If they're open, you can just have a soft gaze looking downward about 4 to 6 feet-ish, or the length of your own body. And if they're closed, just imagine them being held in like velvet. It's a soft gaze either way. Taking time to check in with your body. How is it feeling? Even though we know time is a construct, it's Friday and weekends are who knows what, but there's a rhythm. How does your body feel? It's later in the day, afternoon for some of you, evening for others, night for others. Just feeling into your body and noticing what you notice. And turning that same awareness and mindfulness to your emotional state. How am I? Am I feeling? Up, down, sideways, perpendicular, tight, loose in my emotional state. Fast, slow, medium. Lonely, frustrated, happy. Not trying to change it, but just noticing in order to orient yourself. And finally, checking in with your mind state. Is your mind open? Does it feel tight, closed? Does it feel fast, slow, medium? Does it feel settled or does it feel wavy? Something else, just noticing again the quality of your mind's energy or your thoughts. Expressing gratitude to ourselves, to our body, to our emotions, and to our mind that these three things work together. And sometimes they don't, but that we have a mind, a body, and an emotional field. And because we have those things, that means that they're all workable. That there's fundamental sanity. And so we're going to just sit for a little while to just settle before we turn to our compassion practice, which will be, I think, a visualization. I invite you to invite in any kin, ancestors, or lineage that would feel helpful in holding you this moment. I'm inviting in some of the people on my ancestor shrine: Harriet Tubman, James Baldwin, Buddha Shakyamuni, my mother, Gloria Smalls, passed away, my grandmother, who's still alive, my dog Talopa, who died in 2018, Beyonce, who's also on my ancestor shrine, and inviting anyone in, living or existing in another plane, that feels like they can support and hold you in your practice and also in your life. That we are reminding ourselves that we're not alone. We carry dignity and rebellion and survival and wisdom and humor and connection in our DNA. That goes to the first sentient being that existed on this planet. That goes to the earth itself, who was a sentient being. So even though we may be in our own little pod with ourselves, or ourselves and our plants and animals and booze or children, or maybe we're just by ourselves, we're not alone. And that is key to our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Remember, we carry our support with us, and they are here whenever we want to call them. So can just call them in to be with you. However you desire or know how to. I just like to say, be with me. Help me. We need so much support right now to cut through confusion, arrogance, aggression, ignorance, and attachment. And we have the earth, and we have the sky, and we have the ancestors. So again, feeling your seat, rooting down to your seat, feeling the earth below, and then feeling the sky above, the solidity and groundedness of the earth that reminds us we have a home, we have a place, we have a throne, we have a seat that we can take. And then the sky is the spaciousness, the possibility, the gentleness, the openness, the connection. And earth and sky join at the heart center. And we can feel our heart center glowing like a bright yellow sun. And it switches on. We feel its warmth, its heat, its glow, its power. This is our wisdom center that's connected to the infinite sky and the knowledgeable home of earth. And that sun in our heart begins to radiate first throughout our whole body, illuminating our entire body with bright white light of our yellow sun, reminding us that our body is made of light. And if you can't envision your body being made of light, just imagine light inside of your body. And begin to radiate that light 360 degrees from your heart, from your ears, from your buttocks, from your feet, from your back, from your throat, from the top of your head, from the front of your body, from your elbows. Every place you're radiating light throughout your space, your home, your building, your neighborhood, your town, your city, your province, your state, your nation, your hemisphere, and the whole world, and then beyond this world. You are able to radiate light that heals, cleanses, and purifies whatever it touches. The light of the sun from your heart. Letting it go out as far as you can imagine. And then when it goes as far as you can imagine, send it out, let it go. Come back into your body. Letting the light in your heart dissolve into space. And then letting that space dissolve again into your heart center. Coming back to sitting, we'll do that one more time. You can just take 3 cleansing breaths to ground yourself back in your body. Move or stretch in any way you need to. I want to just say that this practice is a sort of my version of a lungta or wind horse or energy raising practice. Can be done with anything. Some of you have done similar practices with Lama Rod, where we've done Tara practices, or Medicine Buddha, or some of you have done things like Ashe practices. So this is just very general and open to whoever, that the sun in our heart is meant to reflect our jewel, the jewel of wisdom, of Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha that exists in our heart, our complete and utter wakefulness that's always there, but is just buried under obscuration, habit, detritus of existence. And when we tap into what's already there, we're not inventing anything or conjuring it. You can't, it's already there. You can't destroy it. You can ignore it, but not destroy it. And we can't create it. It's just part of our nature as a sentient being. All beings have it. Plants, animals, insects, humans. But what we're doing is connecting to the energy, the strength, the reality of the earth that grounds us and gives us food and life and water. And this reminds us of our symbiotic relationship with the earth. Many of you probably have not forgotten that, but many of us, many people in the world have forgotten the symbiotic relationship with the earth. Many people have not. So we ground into the earth to remember our wakefulness. She's our witness and our home. And from that we can rise and expand into the sky. And the sky, the stardust that we're also made of reminds us of our expansive possibilities, our ability to see beyond what is in front of us. And so it's both those things. It's both earth and sky. And then we join them at the level of the human, at the human heart. And when we join, that awakens our bodhicitta, or our awakened heart. It awakens our jewel. It awakens our fundamental sanity. And we send it to ourselves first, reminding ourselves that we're light beings, we're beings of energy, even though it seems we're very solid. That also helps with many things. It helps disease and things not stick. So there's a whole, And then we don't keep that to ourselves. We send it out to those who can and can't practice for themselves. We send it out. We have enough to all of us to heal the entire universe. So this is, of course, we're using our mind's eye, but we're also using the energy of the body. We're also using our intention. We're also using our cells. to send that out because we are energy producing beings. And it helps to actually cleanse our stuck spots when we do these kinds of practices. A friend of mine said that he thought that visualization practices would really be, in some ways, the wave of the meditation future because we're such a visual world now. And that visualization practices are also very powerful in terms of um, dissolving duality. So I've been trying to teach visualization, even though they're advanced, I've been trying to teach visualization practices in a very simple way because we all visualize, we all have the ability to visualize. Meditation, all meditation techniques take advantage of our innate human abilities to turn our mind to an object, which we all can do. Usually the object is ourselves. Or to imagine something. Okay. Coming back into our body. Doing just a quick scan of a body, emotions, and mind. Again, not to change or get fixated, but just to notice. And then coming into a grounding to the earth. Really feel yourself take your seat. Or if you're lying down, take your posture, your snow lion pose. Claim your space on this earth. Only you can claim the space that you have. Claim it with confidence, humility, and dignity. This is my place. I belong here. Feeling then above you the vast, and around you, the vastness of space. Behind, to your sides, and your front, and above. Feel the expansiveness of your mind, body, and emotions at the same time that they're grounded in the earth. They are rooted in the earth. They also reach up and expand up and out. Feeling that. And the place where the groundedness and the expansiveness meets is in your human heart. And as you feel that connection of grounded earth and expansive space, your heart turns on. And you feel that sun of sanity, wisdom, wakefulness begin to glow. Bright, yellow, warmth, heat, radiating light. First in your chest, and then throughout your entire body, filling your every crevice until you realize through the illumination that you are made of light. You're a light body. And again, if you can't picture that, just feel that sensation, the sensation of light inside of you. And as you feel that light, it wants to get out. Let it radiate 360 degrees from every part of your body, your back, your bottom, your sides, your front, your top. Let it radiate from the nearest to the next nearest, to the next nearest, and farther out until you're covering your city, your state or province, your nation, the hemisphere, our world, and beyond. Feel that light healing, purifying, and cleansing everything it touches. Fear, resentment, plague, illness, famine, aggression, ignorance, defiance, war, arrogance, denial, and all the ways that those things express themselves, the isms that we could call up. Let the light go until you can no longer imagine, and then send it out to the ends of the universes and galaxies. Coming back into your own body and feeling that sun in your heart, its warmth, and let it dissolve into space. And let that space dissolve again into your heart. Coming back into your body with 3 cleansing breaths. And then let's just rest in space for a little while. Here we just drop all technique and we just rest in space. So again, feel free to move or stretch in any way that you need to or want to. And I'm happy to take any questions or comments about the practice we did. You can write them in the chat if you feel too embarrassed to take your microphone off, but would love to hear any of your questions. I'm here for you. Well, I have a question. What kinds of practices would you like to do or learn in these Friday night sessions? What would be helpful for any of you that I might be able to teach you? Supposing that I have the teaching. Is there something that you want to learn or practice?
Well,
Yes,
uh,
mocha.
I've been exploring every day, every morning. I'm starting my day either with some form of guided meditation yeah, or contemplation around either impermanence or groundlessness. I've found that those practices very helpful to start my day because of everything that's going on. It just sets me up for, okay, ride the waves,
Yes.
and don't let them ride you.
Okay, great.
So,
Okay.
so I find your approaches to different things. Just even I've never quite done a Tonglen practice like this, and it's lovely. It really was, and it makes more. It's so much more organic.
Yeah,
It's so much more connect. There's no big leap of a connection. I mean,
that's right.
it's not esoteric. It's
No.
really grounded in a felt
Yes.
experience, and I think that's so needed right now. I know it is for me.
Yes.
You know,
Yes. Me
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yes. Great. Thank you. That's good feedback. Yeah, I want these. So to your first point, yes, I do also practices. Usually in the morning, I do. Depends on the day, but I do Tara practice in the morning, white Tara practice. And then at night, I usually do some kind of protector practice related to impermanence. So it might be actually practices around contemplations of death. So intermediate practices. And also in the morning, I do the 4 reminders that turn the mind towards the Dharma. So precious human birth, um, uh, karma, precious human birth, death and impermanence, karma, and samsara. So that's helpful. But there are some lojong practices that are good, the contemplation practices that I could do. So that's good to some contemplations. And then there's a practice a friend of mine gave me a few weeks ago called the Armor of Fearlessness, which is really powerful. And it's a contemplation for the intermediate state, which we're in. So I'm trying to tool it a little bit to make it less specific to it arises from a particular community, and I want to make it the language more general, but that's something I've started giving to different students. So I will, that's something, thank you, that I've been thinking about. And it actually paradoxically, when you contemplate impermanence and death, the reality of death, right? That life is impermanent. It actually produces and generates incredible confidence. It's like really interesting. It's like, oh, I feel better. Once I like get with the program of like, I'm born, I exist, and then I dissolve. It's not so bad, right? And then working with all the different um, griefs around that. That's the Buddha's first teaching, was that we suffer because of birth, old age, sickness, and death. So thank you. I will keep that in mind. Ruchika, I think you had a question.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm not doing my video, but
It's okay.
okay. It was lovely. I think I really appreciate the visualizations, because that's the kind of way I think as well. Something I was talking about with my brother-in-law in the park earlier today was just like, it was a lovely day here in Brooklyn, as you know.
Yeah.
And I was in the park, and there's some people like doing like weird, dance moves and with like hippie music, and I get it, like they're just trying to do their thing. And then there's other people with their families, and I was with my brother-in-law and my niece, and I just felt like really annoyed that and then and then you hear the sound of an ambulance go by, but like everything you see around you is like this perfect sunny day.
Right.
So I guess I'm just like having a hard time holding space for the
Yes.
fact that it's going to get warm and we've been cooped up for 2 months and we're desperate to be like summertime.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at the same time to be like, you know, having compassion and like a sense of awareness of what's really going on, because like things are going to get worse if we're not careful.
Yeah.
And then also just to kind of hold your anger towards like the people that are doing those dances. And
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen them. There's like a dance crew or something that, anyway, they're like young.
yeah,
they were
like
they were doing a
yeah.
lot. They were doing a lot of stuff yesterday. It was very interesting. I hear you. I've been noticing, particularly last night. I was like, oh, I just noticed like an incredible amount of irritation
Mhm.
arising within me, and that's information for me to. I think what's really important, and I've said this before, but I just want to remind people that when our feelings or experience or phenomena arises and gets our attention, it's not meant to be pushed away. It's meant to be experienced. And I think sometimes through a variety of means, Orientalism, and then many of the first Dharma teachers in the West being white people who translated from Asian teachers, you know, teachers from South Asia, East Asia, and Southeast Asia, it really became there was really a transmission of aestheticism and of repression, right? So there was a transmission of sort of white supremacy or whiteness alongside that, the Dharma in the West. And so in a lot of ways, in the last, 10, 15 years, people have been really reminding folks that like, it's not just the breath, it's the body. And that was never the instruction from these teachers from the East, that it was just the breath, but the way that Western white teachers heard it was that it was very, like the nose. And I remember when I meditated in a few communities. I first started Zen, and then I went to Soka Gakkai, and then I went to Shambhala. And I remember and when I first started meditating in Shambhala, the instruction would be, place the mind on the breath. What? So it's very conceptual and disembodied. And then it became feel the body breathing, which completely reorients your experience. Your experience becomes material, it becomes embodied, it becomes somatic. And that's what and listen, there's no waking up without the body. Okay. So then I do my meditation, I do my yoga, then I go outside, and then there's the world. There's the people who are wearing masks, especially Black folks out there with the, cock to the side. I don't even know what kind of styles. Got a cock to the side, got it on the chin and the head. So, there's like 90% of the people have masks, right? But like 30 to 40% are covering their nose and their mouth, right? And so I'm like, okay. And I'm sort of like having a sense of humor about it. And then people aren't social distancing. And then my friend calls this corner where I live COVID corner, because people are just, I don't even know what, selling ices. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. But what I remember my own limits, right? When I hit my limits, when I hit my capacity, and people have different limits and different capacities and different tools. And I would say, from my very unscientific observational methodology, that many people don't know how to be with themselves. Mm. And so the turn outward toward life having meaning by doing things outside or consuming things, right? This is why we have and it's not, there's a suggestion that the armed movement to open up nail salons and hair cutting places is an astroturf movement. So it's not actually grassroots. It's actually a kind of falsified, the numbers are being blown up and it makes good copy. But even that impulse, so let's say that's 10% of people, even that impulse to threaten other people's lives in order to get your way is a thread that runs through the West, and particularly the United States. So how I work with my own irritation in relation to people who don't wear masks, people who wear masks, the bikers who try to run you over, people who try to come up and talk to you, and you're like, it has to do with my own, that's my practice. And realizing I can't do anything about, conspiracy theories or people thinking it's no big deal. And, it's my neighbor died. She was 16. My other neighbor, his father died. You can't make that real to people, but you can check yourself. And one of the, I think we talked about this last week in the Tonglen practices, is to, when the irritation comes up, to turn your mind to other people who are suffering. Like, maybe that person's suffering, right? Maybe they're afraid. And this is how do I deal with fear? Maybe this is how they deal with fear. Or maybe that person's in a place of ignorance. I've been in places of ignorance. So what it does is relieve us each of being kind of like the police, and actually opens up our field of awareness so that we can first see and feel our own experience, and then actually be helpful. Is my ire helpful in this moment? No, because am I gonna go up and be like, where's motherfucking Basque? I mean, maybe, I don't know. And sometimes my ire is helpful, right? Sometimes it's like, I can influence friends or family, like get PM 2.5 filters and put them in your cloth mask. That's my preaching, is like getting people to use PM 2.5 filters so that their cloth masks become N95 masks. But I think when I just see what I consider weird, I don't see the whole story, right? I'm reminded, I'm on the New York alerts. So they send out different kinds. Today it was like, it's a nice day, remember to wear your mask and social distance, whatever. But every few days I get a text that starts off, home is not safe for some people. And it's information about intimate partner violence resources. And so sometimes when I see people outside, I'm reminded that some people are unhomed. Some people home isn't safe, let's say physically. Sometimes, especially in our neighborhood where we live, I know there are people in my building I have 1-bedroom apartment, and people in my building who I live alone, and there are people who have 5, 6, or 7 people living in a 1-bedroom apartment. I mean, there are 3 and 4-bedroom apartments in here too, but so I'm reminded that sometimes that park space, particularly on the east side, the Black side, is for a lot of people a place of freedom and expression and safety and camaraderie. So I was like, oh, look at these people, 6 people sitting on a bench talking to each other. But then I was like, these are people who've seen each other every day for, 10, 15 years in the drum circle. And so we just do the best they can. One of the things I've started doing is there are a few of us in the neighborhood who we coordinate our care for some of the homeless people in the neighborhood. So there are some homeless people in the neighborhood I do not like and I don't fuck with. And I'm like, nah, I don't fuck with the drum dude. Like, nah. But there's another dude, that's my dude. So, I give him food and money and socks, and then I asked him if he wanted masks and gloves. I gave him masks, gloves, and spray and hand sanitizer. So I'm gonna keep trying to do that. And I saw him the other day, he's like, look. So sometimes it's like, I can't do anything about those people who are, the not millennials, sorry, the zillennials with a Z, the Gen Zers who are out there having picnics and doing whatever. But maybe I can help someone who can't help themselves. And so, or maybe, we have these little fundraisers for small businesses in Brooklyn. There are two for our neighborhood. So I'm trying to turn my mind towards where I can be helpful versus, because I think what happens for me, I don't know if this is your case, is what happens is I see that kind of stuff and there's a part of my mind that goes to pessimism, right? It goes to, if they would just do, I would never be a good politician because even though I have all these lofty whatever, I would be a total fascist, And so particularly around public health, and so my mind goes to this area is already really hard hit. It's going to spread more. People are asymptomatic. Am I going to get sick? The whole thing. Are more people going to die? All the, I've talked to all these people who are nurses and doctors and they're like so traumatized. But then I have to pull back and be like, look at people as individual beings who are having their own struggle. Because I'm having my own struggles. And so just a reminder to bring down the temperature and then ask myself later, maybe it's a day later, maybe it's a week later. Because it is very frustrating. And to talk to the people who are essential and they're, the people who clean the park, they're frustrated. And I have to bring it down and remind myself of the unprecedented nature of what we're all experiencing. And so some of us deal with that by going to meditation on Friday nights. And some people deal with that by hanging out with their friends in the park, 10 people deep. And so we're all learning, we're all learning. And here's the guarantee. We're going to continue to learn and be taught by nature herself. Because we can't get around the reality of what's arising. And the more we ignore it and want to return to our ways, the more, viruses have they have a life of their own. And so for me, I just remind myself, I have Wi-Fi, I have electricity, I have food, I have shelter, I have water. I have a big, beautiful park. I can avoid people in that park if I want to. I'm in a mind state where I can take care of myself and I can also offer care to other people. That's the best I can do. And I try to really keep it in a 24 to 48 hour period of time. And just to remind myself to tap into that jewel in my heart, which contains sanity, right? And I can send other people sanity. I'll never run out of sanity, right? But I can send it to other people. That's the best I've got, from a dharmic point of view. And just from a material point of view, I help where I can. That relieves some of the, my irritation, So I hope that is helpful.
Yeah, thank you. That was very helpful. And I love how you explained the whole system too. And I was laughing, but I was on mute.
Yeah, it's really, I was in Georgia before I came back to New York, and the amount of, the mask wearing here is like excellent. In Atlanta, it was like, I don't know. It was okay. And people weren't social distancing there. Even I was like there was like a Whole Foods in my complex, and they were only letting a certain amount of people, and they did all this work. Stand here. This aisle is one way. That aisle is one way. This is the markers on the ground. Beautiful printed up thing. People of privilege, just doing whatever they want, talking to people who are working there, all in their face. They had to have, the hood, plexiglass. And there was no sense of, there was individuals where there's a sense of, we're in this together and I'm trying to protect you, right? I wear a mask to protect you, you wear a mask to protect me. And then there are people who just get out of my way, I need to get to the wine, and couldn't wait 30 seconds. And I would just observe this behavior. This is the seeds that have been sowed, right? The seeds of capitalism, the seeds of patriarchy, the seeds of white supremacy, which is, you know, fast, me, mine, get out of my way, or I'm just gonna shop like I've always shopped. And I sometimes would feel my irritation rising, but then other times I just reminded myself, we're seeing the fruits of what's planted. That's it. It's not even personal, you know, it's just what people have cultivated. And so even sometimes I have to remind myself, because I'm like, oh, and I was like, no, go around, and these people have worked hard they're working here and keeping this open so you can have food. You can go around, you know? And so it's kind of, you know, people who have never been through nothing don't know how to go through anything, you know? It makes sense. It makes sense. So I think the idea of collectivity has been made distasteful, particularly inside of the US for majority culture, you know? Other people know about collectivity and like you have mutual aid and you help people out and you know, you share passwords and you know, if I got it, you got it, you know, and other people, it's like, you know, one washer dryer per house. I don't need anybody else. So that's a long-term project in undoing me and mine mentality, and instead asking who needs help. So I want to be mindful of time, but if there's one more question, I'd be happy to take it either in the chat or verbally. Like, I want to see Jahan in person, but that's not going to happen for us. That's not going to happen. So this is recorded. So if you came in late or if you missed parts, you can, or if you want to redo the practice, you can watch it again. And I'll keep in mind for next week, maybe some practices around working with the intermediate state. That's a really good idea. So I want to thank you all, and just please stay safe and sane and healthy, you know. So thank you, and be well. Thank you.
Nice seeing
Bye,
you.
everyone. Bye.
So,
Thank you for this, for having the
You're
space.
welcome. Thank
Yes.
you for joining. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate.
Welcome. Thank you.